I used to love escape rooms. There was something thrilling about being locked in a space, solving puzzles, and racing against time with people you trusted. It always felt safe, controlled chaos. A game you could walk away from. That changed last summer. It started when my friend Lisa sent me a link to a new experience called the Exit Room. It had barely opened in Portland, but the reviews were already insane. People said it was terrifyingly real. Unlike any other escape room, and you'll question what's real by the end. I thought it was just clever marketing. We booked it for a Friday night, me, Lisa, Mark, and Ben from work. We'd done a dozen escape rooms before, but this one promised something different. You don't escape together. You escape yourself. That tagline should have been my first warning. When we arrived, the place didn't look like much. An old brick building squeezed between a closed thrift store and a laundromat. The sign above the door flickered, half the letters burned out. Inside, it was quiet. Too quiet. A man in a gray hoodie sat behind a counter. No smile, no greeting, just a clipboard and 4 forms. "Waivers," he said, not looking up. "Sign them before you start." The forms were strange. No mention of injuries or physical risks, just lines about psychological discomfort and consent to isolation. Ben laughed and said, "Guess they're going for realism." I hesitated. Something about the phrasing, "consent to isolation," made me uneasy, but I signed anyway. The man collected the papers and finally looked at us. His eyes were pale, colorless. "Phones stay here," he said. "No recordings. No exceptions." Then he pointed to 4 doors along the hallway, each labeled with our names. "Good luck," he said flatly. "You start alone." The air shifted, a faint hum of machinery, the scent of dust and metal. Lisa squeezed my arm before stepping into her room. She grinned and whispered, "See you on the other side." The door clicked shut behind her. Then mine opened. A small light above the frame blinked red. I stepped inside, expecting puzzles and fake cobwebs. Instead, the door closed, and everything went silent. The room was smaller than I expected. No windows, bare concrete walls. A single wooden chair sat in the middle, facing an old rotary phone on a small table. A digital timer above the door blinked, 60 o'clock. At first, I thought maybe it hadn't started yet, but then the speaker above me crackled to life. "Welcome, Emily," a male voice said. It wasn't the same man from the front desk. This voice was smoother, calm, rehearsed. "You have 60 minutes, find your way out." I smiled nervously. "Okay, let's see what you've got," I muttered. On the table beside the phone lay a folded note. It said, "Pick up when it rings. Don't ignore it. Creepy but fine, probably part of the game." I checked the walls for clues, symbols, hidden panels, anything. Nothing. Just cracks in the concrete and faint water stains that looked too real to be decoration. A faint hum filled the air like an old refrigerator running behind the wall. The timer ticked down, 58:42. Then the phone rang. I jumped. The sound was sharp, metallic, too loud for such a small space. I hesitated before picking up the receiver. "Hello," static. Then my own voice. "You shouldn't be here." I froze. It was me. My voice, same tone, same hesitation, like a recording of something I'd said before. I slammed the phone down and stepped back. The timer flickered once, then continued counting down. No other sound. I told myself it was part of the experience. Maybe they'd pulled my voice from social media or something. Still, the air felt thicker now, heavier. On the opposite wall, something caught my eye. A narrow line, a seam running from floor to ceiling. A hidden door. I pressed my palm against it. Cold metal beneath the paint. It didn't move. Then, from somewhere beyond the wall, came a sound, a short, dry laugh. Muffled like it came through a vent. "Lisa," I called out. "Is that you?" No answer. Another laugh, softer this time. Then silence again. I looked up. The red light above the door blinked twice. The speaker crackled. The same calm voice said, "Keep going, Emily. You're not alone in there." The light flicked off. and in the darkness, I swear I heard breathing slow and steady right behind me. I turned, heart hammering, but the room was empty. When the light came back on, the chair had moved. Just an inch closer to me, but enough to know. Something had changed. I tried the door. Locked. The timer above it blinked faster now, digits flickering 5109, then 5059, then 5212. Glitching, I whispered to myself, "It's fine, it's part of the game." But my voice trembled. Then the phone rang again. I didn't want to answer the phone again, but the ringing wouldn't stop. Each shrill tone drilled deeper into my skull until I couldn't stand it anymore. I grabbed the receiver. "Hello?" This time, no static. A man's voice answered, quiet, almost whispering. "You've been here before." I frowned. "What are you talking about?" Silence, then a faint click. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my pulse racing. I hadn't been here before. I would have remembered this place. Trying to distract myself, I searched the room again, ran my fingers along the cracks, pressed every corner of the floor. That's when I noticed something new. A photo taped beneath the table. It was a group picture, 4 people standing in front of a red door. Me, Lisa, Ben, and Mark. The photo looked like it had been taken earlier that evening, except Ben wasn't smiling. His eyes were closed, like he was mid-blink, or maybe he wasn't blinking at all. My stomach tightened. We hadn't posed for any picture before starting. I turned the photo over. On the back, scrawled in black marker, were the words, "One of you won't leave." My mouth went dry. "Okay, it's a joke," I said aloud. "Just some creepy prop." I placed the photo back and took a deep breath. That's when I noticed the chair again. It had moved closer. Now it was just a few inches from my leg. I hadn't heard it scrape against the floor. I stepped away quickly, staring at it, waiting for anything to happen. Nothing did. Then, from behind the wall, came a faint knock. 3 short taps, I knocked back. "Lisa, Mark, Ben." Another knock. This time slower, I pressed my ear to the wall. A whisper slipped through, too soft to understand. I caught fragments of words. "Door, stay still, someone." A sudden hiss of feedback made me jump. The speaker crackled again. The calm voice returned. "Don't listen to them, Emily. They're not supposed to talk to you." I froze. "Who isn't supposed to?" The lights cut out. I could still hear the faint hum of electricity, but the darkness was total. The air felt close, suffocating. Then a sound. Something dragging slowly across the floor. Wood scraping against concrete. When the light came back, the chair was right in front of me, and on its seat lay the photo again. But now, Ben's face had been scratched out. The timer above the door glitched once more, jumping to 0:32 and 44 seconds. Half the time was gone, and I didn't even know what I was supposed to do. I ran to the door and banged on it. "Hey, I'm done. I want out." No one answered. Then, from somewhere inside the wall, I heard the unmistakable sound of another door slamming and someone screaming my name. It was Lisa, or at least, it sounded like her. "Lisa," I shouted, pressing my ear to the wall. No response, just a low, rhythmic thudding that might have been footsteps or a heartbeat. I hit the wall with my fist. "Lisa, answer me." The sound stopped. Then faintly, I heard her voice, strained like she was crying. "Emily, don't move." My throat went dry. "What?" But before I could say another word, the speaker above me crackled again. The calm voice, colder now. "She can't help you. None of them can." I stepped back, shaking my head. "This isn't funny anymore." Silence. Then the timer above the door flashed 0:31 and 0 seconds and froze. The hum of machinery stopped. The air conditioner, the faint buzzing light, everything went dead. The silence was so heavy I could hear my heartbeat pounding in my ears. I turned the phone over in my hands, wondering if it still worked. The line was dead. Then, click. The seam in the far wall, the one I thought was just paint, split open slightly. A sliver of darkness appeared, no wider than my fingers. A narrow gust of cold air brushed against my face. I hesitated. "Hello?" No answer. But deep inside that gap, I saw something movement, slow and deliberate, like someone standing just beyond the wall. I took a step closer. "Is someone there?" The gap widened with a groan, metal scraping metal. My body tensed. I should have backed away, but curiosity overpowered fear. Behind it wasn't another room. It was a hallway, barely lit by a single flickering bulb. The concrete there looked older, cracked, damp. It didn't feel like part of the game. Still, anything was better than this room. I squeezed through the gap. The hallway smelled like rust and mildew. The bulb above me flickered weakly, and I realized I couldn't see the end, just shadows stretching forever. As I walked, my footsteps echoed back unnaturally loud. Every sound lingered too long, like the hallway didn't want to let go of it. Then I noticed something on the floor, a small silver charm bracelet. Lisa's. I picked it up and whispered, "Lisa, please tell me you're here." The bulb flickered again, and I caught a glimpse of something ahead. A door, red like the one from the photo. I ran to it, desperate for a way out. But when I reached it, I froze. Someone had carved a message into the door's surface. "Do not trust the voice." My hands trembled as I touched the handle. It turned easily, too easily. The door swung open, revealing another room identical to the first one I'd been in. Same chair, same phone, same timer on the wall, except the timer already read 0:05 and 12 seconds, and the photo on the chair showed only me. I stumbled backward. No, this isn't possible." The speaker hissed again. "Almost there, Emily. Don't ruin it now." "Ruin what?" I shouted. No reply. The timer jumped to 0:04 and 59 seconds and the lights dimmed. From somewhere inside the walls, I heard breathing again, closer this time. Slow, patient. The air grew colder. I turned toward the sound and saw the chair had moved again. Now it was right behind me. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My throat locked as my body froze. The chair was so close I could see a faint indentation on the seat, as if someone invisible had just stood up. I backed away, slow, one trembling step at a time. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. Then from the speaker came a whisper. "Sit down, Emily." I shook my head. "No, you came here to play. Sit down and it ends." My eyes darted to the timer, 0:03 and 37 seconds. Each second blinked down like a countdown to something I didn't understand. "And how?" I demanded. Silence. I looked back at the door, but it was gone. The same walls surrounded me, sealing me in like before. That's when I realized what was wrong. The air smelled faintly of my perfume, the one I'd been wearing that night. And on the table lay my phone. My phone, not the black rotary one. It buzzed once. Caller ID, Lisa. My stomach twisted. I swiped to answer. "Lisa, where are you?" But it wasn't her voice. It was me. "You shouldn't have left." I dropped the phone. It hit the floor with a hollow crack and kept buzzing over and over, vibrating like it was alive. The lights began flickering faster, the shadows on the walls shifting like waves. I could hear footsteps, my own, echoing from every direction, closing in. The timer flashed 0:02 and 10 seconds. I turned toward the photo on the chair again. It had changed, now showing the red hallway behind me. Only this time a blurred figure stood at the end. It looked like me. I stumbled backward, panic rising in my chest. "No, this isn't real." The speaker hissed violently, distorting the calm voice into static screams. "Finish the game!" The lights went out again. I was plunged into pitch-black silence, the kind that crushes your sense of direction. Then came that same dragging sound, wood scraping concrete, and I realized the chair was moving again. It circled me, though I couldn't see it, just hear it, slow, deliberate, rhythmic. I pressed my back against the cold wall, tears stinging my eyes. Somewhere in the dark, my own voice whispered right next to my ear. "You should have listened." The lights snapped back on. The timer was gone. The walls were cracked, mold creeping up their surface. The phone lay shattered on the floor. The air felt old, stale, like this place hadn't been used in years. I took a shaky breath and reached for the door. This time, it opened easily. Beyond it was no hallway, no exit, just another identical room. Same table, same chair, and on the chair, a photo of me walking through this exact door. The voice returned, softer again, almost kind. Round 2, and the timer blinked back to life. 0:59 and 59 seconds. I don't know how long I stood there. The timer ticked softly, a heartbeat I couldn't silence. 59 minutes, again. I forced myself to move. I wasn't going to let this room play with me anymore. Every detail was the same, the chipped table, the humming light, the faint smell of old paint. But there was something off this time. The clock's ticking was slower, dragging behind real time like it didn't want to move forward. I scanned the walls for seams, hidden doors, anything. My hands brushed over rough paint until I felt something under my fingers, a line of small carvings. Numbers, dozens of them, etched into the plaster in shaky handwriting. Each set of numbers began with 5959. Over and over, scratched into the wall like someone had been counting how many times they'd started again. I traced one of the marks with my nail. "Was this me?" I whispered. The phone on the table rang once. Not the old black one, my phone again. The screen glowed dimly, cracked. A message appeared. "You're learning." My breath hitched. "Who are you?" I whispered. The reply came instantly. "The last one who tried to leave." The screen flickered and went dark. I dropped the phone, backing away until my shoulders hit the wall. No, this isn't real. But then I saw it, a faint reflection in the glossy timer. Someone standing behind me. I spun around. Nothing. The reflection still showed a figure, though tall, indistinct, standing too close. When I moved, it didn't. I looked away. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking so violently I could barely keep my balance. That's when I noticed something else. The chair had turned toward the wall. On its back, someone had carved a single phrase, "Break the pattern." The words echoed in my mind like an order. I stared at the timer. 55 minutes left. That had to mean something. Maybe I needed to run it out. Or maybe I had to do the one thing I hadn't dared to do before. I grabbed the chair, lifted it, and hurled it at the timer. The glass shattered in a burst of sparks. The room plunged into silence, and then, slowly, the sound of metal grinding filled the air. The wall behind the timer split open. A narrow passage. Heart pounding, I stepped inside. The walls were tighter here, damp and cold. My fingertips brushed against old brick and wire. At the far end, faint light leaked through another opening. I moved closer and froze. It wasn't another exit. It was the same observation window I'd seen in the real escape room lobby, the one where staff monitored players. But the reflection in the glass wasn't mine. Lisa was there. She stood on the other side, staring straight at me, only she looked wrong. Paler, her movements jerky, unnatural, and when she spoke, I could barely hear her words through the glass. "You should have stayed gone." She reached for a switch beside her, and the lights in my passage flickered violently. The timer above me blinked back to life. 0:59 and 59 seconds. Then the world reset again. Same chair. Same phone, same hum in the walls. But this time I wasn't alone. Someone was breathing right behind me. The breath behind me was slow, deliberate, human. I turned. And there she was, not a reflection, not a trick of the light. A second version of me, standing just a few feet away. Same face, same trembling hands. Her eyes were hollow, distant, watching something I couldn't see. "Who are you?" I whispered. Her lips moved, but the voice came from the speaker above. "I told you not to break the rules." I stumbled backward, heart hammering. The timer above blinked, 0:58 and 41 seconds. Suddenly everything clicked. The waivers we signed. The consent to isolation. The repeated voices. The shifting photos. This wasn't just a game. It was an experiment. And every time someone panicked, every time they ran or obeyed the instructions blindly, the loop repeated. They never left. "Lisa, Ben, Mark," I croaked. They didn't break the pattern, the voice whispered. I realized what I had to do. Not run, not follow the instructions. I had to stop playing the game entirely. I sank to the floor, closing my eyes, resisting every instinct to move, to solve, to escape. The lights flickered violently, the speakers shrieked, the hum of electricity filled the room. Emily, get up. The game isn't over. I didn't move. Seconds stretched like hours. The sound, the light, the voices all reached a peak, then collapsed into silence. When I opened my eyes, the room was gone. I was in an empty, abandoned warehouse. Dust coated the floor, broken signs hung from the walls. A faint flicker from a corner. Exit room closed since 2017. I stood, legs shaking, and pushed open a rusted door. Cold night air rushed in. For a moment, I thought I was free. Then my phone buzzed. A single notification lit up the cracked screen. Round 3 begins in 0, 59 and 59 seconds. And faintly from somewhere behind me, I heard my own voice whisper, "I told you not to break the rules." I froze. Was I free, or was the game still watching? I don't know. All I know is that I can't stop asking myself, did I really escape? Or is someone else playing me now?